Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about weekly hard stratagem number 49 in Space Marine 2 patch 14. Now, this week is on Reclamation, and the battlefield conditions are actually pretty difficult. We have Harvest of Vitae, you have no contested health, and executions restore a fixed amount of health. Personal Quarry, each player is assigned an enemy that only they can kill, and Suboptimal State, maximum health is reduced by 50%. So, Harvest of Vitae is actually pretty difficult on the final mission portion with the boss of the Tyranid Primes, mainly because all the Hormagaunts in that area, you really don't get executes off of these, which means if you do lose your contested health, you'll be in a pretty bad spot there because there's no way to get back your HP. And Personal Quarry, this one's honestly not that bad. This one will just put a little skull icon on some of the Majoris. It'll also put a little X icon on the ones you can't kill, which doesn't actually pop up too much throughout your game. So Personal Quarry, it's a lot easier than it sounds initially. Now the really difficult one here is Suboptimal State. Your maximum health being reduced by 50% on top of no CHP is very difficult for a lot of players, but there are some ways to make this one substantially easier using things like the Techmarine or the Bulwark, because if you build for armor regen on this one, you're able to damage cap against a lot of the attacks, especially against Tyranids, so those are the best options overall in my opinion, and I use the Techmarine personally to complete this hard stratagem. So I'm going to go over some build options for those here, and hopefully this gives you a better idea of how to complete this new hard weekly. Okay, so for the Techmarine build setup I use for this, I just take a Deathwatch Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle, Heroic Plasma Pistol, and the Argent Edge. Now, the main idea behind this is maxing out our armor regen on top of maxing out our range damage reduction, because range damage reduction in Space Marine 2, this will affect your armor, not just your HP, so pretty good to keep our armor up, and armor already damage caps against all melee attacks in the game, and what I mean by that is any amount of armor in this game will stop an incoming melee attack no matter what, even if it's like a sliver left. So keeping it up with that range damage reduction is really nice, and that armor will save you from most of like the Tyranid Sword Warriors and Carnifex stuff. Now, as far as the heavy bolt rifle is concerned, this weapon is very strong in the Techmarine class. It gives you a stagger option, a great AoE, great ammo economy, and great CHP recovery, though I will say with Suboptimal State, the Techmarine is incredibly squishy if your armor does break, so you really want to keep that armor up, because on this modifier especially, if your armor goes away, you're probably going to explode. And like, that's the big downside of this guy, where Bulwark can kind of survive in some places, but that being said, his armor regen is just that strong that usually that won't happen to you if you play, semi-decently. Now, for the perk tree here, we need to take the perk Extended Magazine first, moving here into the perk Magazine Restoration, leaving fire again over here into the perk Remote Threat, and then we pick up Great Might, Increased Capacity, Headhunter, and the perk here Recoupment. Now, this perk is another source of armor regen. All you have to do is headshot a Majoris or higher enemy with this weapon pretty much, and just get one armor back on a 15-second cooldown. Really nice to keep your HP up. And the next perk here is Rapid Health for some HP healing on 7 kills in rapid succession. Then we pick up Perpetual Penetration, the perk here Divine Might, and Extended Magazine, because this perk here and Increased Capacity, these buff up both the base bolt proportion ammo and also your grenade launcher, so really good value here. Now, for the secondary, I do take the Heroic Plasma Pistol, because this one just does a ton of burst damage, and all we do for this is just build it for pure damage. Starting off with Plasma Collection into the perk here Rapid Cooling, Plasma Collection again, Blast Radius, Perpetual Velocity, Plasma Collection again into Blast Radius, Retaliation, and Divine Might. And some other options that you could use do include stuff like the Neo Volkite or an Inferno Pistol, and these are both pretty good options. It's just that the Heroic Plasma's a bit better in my opinion. Now, the main crux of this build is the Argent Edge. The Argent Edge is the best defensive weapon in Space Marine 2. This will save your life in this for sure, because what you really want off of this is the ability to stagger enemies on the first parry, and that will save you from a ton of extra damage against things like Raveners. And also, this one can give you back armor against Minoris, and in that final portion when you were fighting all the Hormagaunts and that giant like little AoE arena, the giant Tyranid Prime arena, excuse me, that's pretty much all you want, because those Hormagaunts are actually pretty dangerous, and if your armor breaks for any reason and a Tyranid Prime like drive-bys you, he will just kill you instantaneously, which is pretty annoying, but that's why you want this one. So the actual build setup on the perk tree doesn't matter too much, but definitely pick this knife up. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take precision enhancement first. The servo gun now targets single dangerous enemies and fires powerful precision shots. This is the strongest option overall for Techmarine in patch 14. It really has been since like patch 13, to be honest. Burn damage overall is less valuable than it used to be because it no longer scales off of auspex, and that means if you have a tactical on your team, this one's doing less for you. Plasma and burn are pretty strong against the Hormagon hordes, but Argent Edge can kind of make up for that, and for the most part, the burst damage here, especially against things like Neurothropes, is very strong. Next weapon here is, or excuse me, the next perk here is the Omnisign Axe Deflection. After a perfect parry or perfect block, you'll take 25% less damage from range attacks for 10 seconds. This is why the Argent Edge is so strong in this class, because you just get to take this perk for free, basically. You do not need things like Arc Flea for bonus melee damage, because this weapon's not really about melee damage, and the fencing parry window here with that heroic perk effect for Stagger takes perfect advantage of this one. Next perk here is a Long Range Barrage. Range damage ranges greater than 20 meters increases by 25%. Then I pick up Battlefield Repairs for double armor restoration for obvious reasons. And then we can pick up the perk here, Designated Target, or Inexorable Salvo. This one can give you no knockback, which is very strong to keep you alive, though the Argent Edge does make this significantly less valuable just because this one is so strong keeping enemies off your ass. If you want to pick this up anyways for like a bit of a redundant effect, you can definitely do that, though this one will give you more damage against the bosses. Next perk here is Replenishing Salvo for equipment restoration on a 75-second cooldown, and the final perk here is Fortifying Salvo for more armor regen on a 30-second cooldown when you kill or incapacitate an enemy with the servo gun, which pretty much happens off cooldown. The final perk here is Lethal Perimeter, because this one pairs perfectly with Precision Enhancement, and if you shoot out your auspex scan, or not really an auspex scan, or like your little servo gun zone on this, you will trigger the perk effect Inexorable Salvo immediately for that 15-second lingering duration. If you turn this off for no use of your servo gun energy, it will still have this effect, so a really strong option there. Now for the prestige perk options here, I do take Chained Headshots first. Into the perk here, Influencing Focus. You definitely want this pretty much all the time, just because invulnerability during the sentry guns is just so valuable. And the final perks are Defensive Stance for even more range damage reduction, and the final one is Blast Radius, just because we don't really need the other options on like Resilience on this one, because Stim HP healing, because you have a 50% reduction in your base HP, you already kind of explode anyways, so stims aren't doing a ton for you outside just stacking up on that final mortal wound portion, and also because your HP is lower, they already heal more. And that's pretty much all there is for the Techmarine build setup. Now for the Bulwark setup, I think the best option for this is the Death Grasp Heroic Power Fist. This is a fencing option with the heroic perk effect over here called Follow-Up Shot. Performing a finisher marks a nearby Majoris or higher enemy for a gun strike. Light attack damage increases by 200%, but charge attack damage decreases by 50%. So on this build, we just go for full armor restoration with stuff like Armor Reinforcement, Focus Restoration, Glory's Shield, because Invigorating Icon does nothing for you with Harvest of Vitae since you have no contested health, and Rejuvenating Effect, because with this perk here, you can instantaneously revive your team members even in like very awkward scenarios. And when it comes to the Suboptimal State modifier, having the opportunity to just instantaneously res people is super strong, because there are points where you will just die if you try to res your guys normally because your HP is just way too low. Now as far as the weapon is concerned here, the Death Grasp Power Fist is very strong, just feeds you gun strikes for armor reinforcement to get back armor on every non-finisher. Really good synergy there. And as far as the perk tree is concerned on this, it doesn't matter too much, but we just set up this way, starting off Perpetual Strength, into the perk here Heavy Preparation, Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again, into the perk here Focused Intention. Then I pick up Tide of Battle, Following Blow down here into Strength of Will, and the final perks here are Combo and Majora's Slayer. Now for the secondary, I do take the newly buffed Honorific Relic to Heroic Bolt Pistol. This got a base damage buff of 15% in patch 14. It is way better now, very ammo efficient, very high gun strike damage, equivalent to a firepower heavy bolt pistol, and it's probably my favorite bolt secondary in the game currently. Now for the perk tree on this, I start off with the perk Perpetual Precision, moving here into the perk Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, Increased Capacity, Headhunter again, Elite Hunter, into the perk here Headhunter, Extended Magazine, and Divine Might. Now as far as the perk tree goes, I do take Intimidating Aura first. A perfect time parry deals AoE damage in a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This is very strong on any fencing or block weapon, but if you you do feel a little unsafe with no damage reduction, you could pick up Conviction instead. This will definitely save your life. Conviction with a 30% base HP increase is very strong in this game, even on suboptimal state, but this one is a bit more damage, so that is up to you. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting for range damage reduction for our armor. Moving here into the perk Armor Reinforcement, non-finisher gun strikes for one armor segment, and then I go up here into the perk Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore one armor segment. This is really strong for this modifier because this will help out your squishier teammates with armor regen to damage cap them as well as yourself, and that is a very strong pick for this one, so I would definitely grab this. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies with area of effect. This just gives you a shock area around your banner, and in the final portion of the Tyranid Primes where all the Hormigons are swarming you, this is super strong and pairs very well with the perk down here, Glorious Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. So you have a longer lasting banner, you have damage reduction here, and you have that shock area around that banner, so a really good value pick. And obviously on this modifier, like I mentioned before, the healing perk down here doesn't do anything for us, so kind of just like a no-brainer to grab this. Next perk here is Rejuvenating Effect, and the final perk here is Armored Advance. For no knockback, we have Armor Up because we have Armor Up all the time. Now for the Prestige perk options, I do take the perk Auxiliary Reload into the perk here Overcharge, and then I grab Powerful Shot and Standard Bearer. I don't find Masterful Defense does too much for me here. I mean, if you want this perk, you definitely can, but Tyranids don't like to shoot you as much as like a Chaos guy does, but it's still a really strong option if you want to grab this. And Resilience is up to you, but with that suboptimal state 50% HP reduction, your Sims already heal a pretty high amount, like I said before. And that's pretty much all there is for this build setup, guys. I think this one might be a little bit easier than Techmarine, but both are very strong picks, and that's definitely what I would grab for this modifier here. But hopefully these build setups helped you, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And if you want to catch me live to ask me questions about the game or just coming out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description, and also a link to my PD Discord. I also show a full run of this on the Techmarine to give you an idea of how to actually go through this mission and how the personal quarry modifier actually works. And that's all I have to say in this one, guys. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. But this is going to be the next weekly here with Harvest of Vitae, Personal Quarry, and Suboptimal State. This one's really not too bad. You know, a lot of people don't like the Personal Quarry one, but Personal Quarry doesn't actually occur all that often in this game, not as much as you would think. So as long as you build for armor in this for your team with stuff like Focus Restoration, Battlefield Repairs, your guys will be fine, because armor will damage cap against enemy attacks, and also on classes like Techmarine, you can stack so much range damage reduction that who even cares, right? They're unbalanced, guys. When I say the weeklies are hard, not when you have a Auspex plus Techmarine, or you know, mostly that Auspex, but
multiple contacts swarming our locus. What is your status, Talassa?
Blazing a trail through Xenos, Phaedrus.
Good. We have drawn their focus.
I still think this is probably the best map they've added to the game post-launch.
Disrupted Phaedrus.
This for Purgation.
Replenishing organs.
FTG is Bulwark necessary for the next weekly? No. Definitely not. It's good, though. Definitely one of the two options. I'd say Techmarine and Bulwark do very well. Mainly because they're just stack armor regen. Bulwark's probably a little bit better than Techmarine for this, just because he can give armor to your entire team with Focus Restoration and his banner. But so can the Techmarine with Battlefield Repairs.
Encountering heavy Tyranid resistance.
Ship will hold.
Battle van updated, Heraton.
Armor does not damage cap against ranged attacks, though. I mean, but the thing is, you can stack range damage reduction, and range damage reduction will affect your armor, not just your HP. So you can actually make your armor a bit tankier. And the main things that are going to damage nuke here, ranged attacks are usually easier to avoid directly. But there's not like a lot of damage nuking on the range unless you sit there like in a Rage of Arrow volley. Melee attacks, you just straight up one-shot you with suboptimal state. Times. Why Techmarine's actually... Techmarine's surprisingly tanky with his armor. It's just like, when the armor's gone, so are you.
Combat squad Heraton reporting in. The bridge is lost, as are my squad brothers.
Or I should say, when I say the range damage doesn't burst you as much, that's mainly when I'm talking about Tyranids. Tyranids have like the enraged enemies, obviously, that you have to be careful for. But as long as you don't sit in like an enraged devour, you'll be okay. Most of the time, range kills you by chips, or it breaks your armor and you get meleeed or something.
Talassa, commune with the main console in front of you to bypass the security protocols.
We are approaching the main console now.
Yeah.
Servo gun is
I love the
fully
shoulder
aligned
charge.
with
Yeah,
our
shoulder bash is
power.
very good.
The correct markings.
Alright, where are the holy symbols?
That was a match.
Techmarine Siege is goated. Techmarine is goated in general. This class is very strong.
Restoring sentry to battle ready status.
Class has a lot of utility in all the modes in the game.
Does your aiming system need recalibration? Xenos organism confirming match.
Okay. It's the fastest way to get the blue Doritos. I'll have a whole video on that, but also, I mean, it's just the weeklies.
Show us the fastest route to the plasma reactors. The lift platform is in transit.
I mean, the thing about Doritos is they're time gated. So,
Rally at the lift platform.
the fastest way to get them is to do as many weeklies as possible
Have confirmation that
on the
combat squad
siege mode.
Fighters is lost. I need a
That's the most
mission
time efficient
status
way to do it.
update
Siege
from
mode,
all remaining
PvP.
combat squads.
You get like up to
Combat
500
squad
plus or something
Heraton
like that.
ahead. Redirecting along newly advised path. Combat squad Octavio reporting in. Cyclonic armament secured for now. Talassa, you are nearing the reactor cooling hall. Report on its condition when you arrive.
Heavy Xenos infestation present.
All squads, we have updated our battle stratagems. Heraton, reinforce Octavio and protect the cyclonic armaments. Talassa, your new orders are to destabilize the reactor, cause a temperature spike, and the Tyranids may redirect their assault to you, buying Heraton and Octavio some time to prime the armaments. When you reach the reactor's cooling console, disable the emergency blast shields.
There we go.
Emergency blast shields retracting. Warning. Coolant rods exposed. Talassa, I need you to disable the entire cooling array. Concentrate fire on the exposed cooling rods. Practical. Open fire on exposed plasma rods.
For that.
Automated weapon engaged. Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms.
I always forget how easy this mission is with teammates because you can kind of just run through.
Ablative armor to target.
Doing this portion by yourself can kind of suck, but when you got people to help you out, blow up these generators, it's pretty easy. I say as I don't help anybody blow up these generators, but I'm about to.
These are our targets.
I'm curious to see what heroic weapons are going to add in patch 15. Hi, my name is Dark Angel Bob. Your name is indeed Dark Angel Bob.
Temperature fluctuation.
Hello.
Plasma cooling efficacy severely reduced. Excellent, Talassa. You will need to repeat the same process at the second array. Access granted to the bridge console.
Also, one other thing about the Techmarine is that because your servo guns are free, your gun trick animations are free, it's actually really easy to maintain your armor. Even against some normal guns here. Even without your fencing. Power Sword is also quite strong for that, because power style attacks will always set up gun strike animations. My teammates just going crazy here, blowing this shit up. Oh, hold on, I can help. Final one over here.
The final run is destroyed. Temperature
I
set
help.
critical level. Plasma reactor shutting down to prevent catastrophic detonation. Talasa, do not let reactors cool down. This cruiser will soon perform its final task. Proceed to the decks below and force the plasma reactors to overheat.
Is that not satisfying?
Location.
You think the Great Sword is now scrapped with the one-handed Thunderhammer? Guys, what would possibly make you think that they just scrap an entire idea? They just said that they prioritized the one-handed Thunderhammer first. Doesn't mean you aren't gonna get a Great Sword, guys. They're always so, like, so extreme.
Talasa, have you
They
received
mentioned one
word
thing
from our
one
brother
time,
in
people are
combat
like,
squad
and now
Hamilton?
it's over.
His approach
We're
brings
never
us
gonna
short
hear
of
about it
taking
ever
the
again.
technical underbelly.
An Ultramarine has been through this sector, but we have heard nothing from Heraton.
Understood. Be advised. We remain under heavy Tyranid assault.
Expectation. Tyranids will withdraw from your locus, allowing you time to extract.
This is ill-advised, Talasa. If you do not rig the reactor to detonate...
You have a favorite
the
Legion or
cyclonic
chapter? I
warhead
sure
will be
do, Knight.
wasted.
I am a fan of Blood Angels. Before you ask me why, first of all, red arm. I like red. I think red's a cool color. But also, I'm a fan of Sanguinius. I don't actually like Sanguinary Guard that much, though. I think the gold is a bit excessive. Oh, we're accepted at tier 1.
Repurposing battlefield sentry. Talasa, we have lost contact.
I wish they'd add 3 more operations to year 3. I love multiple new maps. I think they said, well, there's guaranteed going to be at least 2. I'm pretty sure we're getting a new boss next patch. An operation ending. You don't actually deal with biobores if you just explode them. This enhancement is so good. Precision servo is so, honestly, precision servo is so strong now after Burn got nerfed. It's strong in multiple ways. Burn got nerfed, so plasma burn is just inherently like worse in a team comp attack than it used to be. And also, siege mode got changed, where damage reduction now applies to the burn damage. I also find the plasma one that's getting caught on shit all the time. Like you'll execute one Majoris and it'll shoot like 4 plasma shots into their little bone arm. It can be technically higher damage, but if you get like every single shot off into a perfect board. I don't think this class struggles to work through anyways.
Primary objective ahead. My satellite armor. It longs for
Alright, here we go, look at that.
joint matters.
Pretty easy weekly when you just obliterate everything in your path, right? Let's see what we got.
That
Oh
reactor
boy.
must be destroyed. Honor our brothers. Honor our chapter.
It is coming right at us.
First I'm in one-shot territory. Okay. Yeah. These little Hormigons will actually fuck you up here because you can't get back your HP roll. This is also why I would suggest getting Rejuvenating Effect on your Bulwark. You can get it up your guys very easily. And with suboptimal state, you're in a little bit of a problem of spontaneous combustion. What I mean, dude. If your armor breaks, you're fucked. Wasn't never gonna restore. Why not? That was the hard part over. The Hormigons at the end here are actually the worst part, I'm not even kidding. They are generally going to kill most players, I imagine. Fight fencing's so strong here too.
Remain functional. I am closing the gap.
I think I'm just going to bring them down both together. I can.
Strike ready to the roll.
Techmarine's surprisingly tanky on this one. Endless armor regen. There you go. Am I using the Melta Bomb? I mean, just like what we do, just do like maybe 5% of his HP on a detonation. That's all we needed that game. Melta Bombs don't do a lot to bosses, anyways. Boss damage isn't really the issue there. I did this with a Shield Bash Bulwark build before. That one's definitely strong, but having the fencing options for armor regen is definitely nice. Because I'll tell you, the tricky part will always be those Hormigons at the very end. Because with Harvest of Vitae, you don't get HP except off of executes, and Hormigons really give you that. So how come no Salamanders for in Techmarine? I mean, it is on Techmarine.
Get us away. Race for turbulence. If not for your valor, Talassa, this operation would have ended.
I mean, Argent Edge is a better weapon than the Salamander Power Sword in Techmarine. Salamander Power Sword is really good, but Argent Edge is also, you know, the Argent Edge. Argent Edge is probably the best melee weapon in the entire game, at least for defense. There's some block ones that are better, but Argent Edge is pretty broken. Who do you think is the most difficult terminus? Probably the Vortex Beast. In terms of like endgame bosses, that one's probably the most obnoxious moveset. In terms of random mission spawns, probably the Sorcerer. It's pretty disruptive.